Since, the Republicans are trying to ban teachers from teaching American history, and they really don't want no one to know about the history of America and what their ancestors have done. You see, when they talk about this critical race theory, it's all about avoiding responsibility for the murdering, the pillaging, the theft that they have done in this country. You understand? So you can try to ban teachers from talking about it because they're underneath your control with the state, but you can't ban people like me from talking about it because more people would actually listen to what I'm going to say than your teacher says anyway. So because you want to ban the teachers, fine. We go ahead on and pick up where the teachers actually should have left off. So let's talk about something in American history out of Slocum, Texas. Now, in Slocum, Texas, back in July 29th, 1910, it was an unincorporated community in southeast Anderson County. The city itself used to be a home of a thriving African-American community with several businesses and farms, farms by black residents. When they talk about the black community and the neighborhoods, etc., understand, we had so many communities that we built with our own hands with no help, no government help, no anything, farming our own food, doing for ourselves. And every single time that we were successful, these white supremacist terrorists would come in and try to destroy or run off black folks off of what they have worked for. Now, in this story, they said leading up to the massacre, they say a lynching of a black man in nearby Cherokee County sparked racial tensions in the Slocum area. Now, they said white folks had circulated that black residents had been in a meeting in Slocum and planned an armed rebellion. So they said racial tensions only intensified when a white man reportedly sought to collect a disputed debt from a well-respected black farmer named Abe Wilson. And when a road construction foreman put an African-American in charge, of soliciting aid for road improvements, as a confrontation erupted, enraging Jim Spurger, a local white farmer, who became the primary agitator. I want to repeat this again. The Mzungu was the primary agitator of the conflict that led to the massacre, not the black folks. Black people living their life, farming, having their businesses, minding their own black business. And Jim Spurger here stirred up all the commotion. Many newspapers and eyewitnesses at the time reported that Spurger instigated the events by claiming that blacks had threatened him. Now, how many of you known about the Slocum, Texas massacre in your high school? Did you know anything about it? Did you know that black people once again was minding their own business and another massacre happened? It wasn't just Tulsa, Oklahoma, folks. It wasn't just that. So it said, driven by Spurger and other white vigilantes, an angry mob of heavily armed white men from all over Anderson County roamed through Slocum in groups. As they, according to some reports, 200 men laid siege to the city. They fired guns on black residents at will. As the African Americans fled as word spread from survivors of the carnage. They say white mobs trailed fleeing black people into the surrounding forests and marshes and shot them in the back. Boy, nothing has changed. Black folks run from the police, they shot in the back. That's considered justified. White mobs did it back then when they trying to escape trouble. Shot in the back. These people never changed. 1910 to 2021, these people don't change. Let me tell you black people something. All this, my bones are buried here, we gonna fight this, we gonna fight that. These people don't change. Studying history will show you nothing has changed with them. But let's continue. They say that every initial newspaper portrayed African Americans as the armed instigators, which was gross mischaracterizations. Oh, okay. So black folks are being lied on Oh, just like today, black people just attacking Asians all over the place. Oh, black people's the worst thing ever. Black people doing this, black people doing that. Oh, a knockout game. Look at all the black people just knocking out white folks. Nothing has changed, folks. Nothing. This is why I told y'all on Instagram that we cannot get along. We can't. Y'all tried it. Y'all tried this integration. You tried it. It just don't work. But continuing. As the newspapers reported that the estimated death toll of the black residents was between 8 to 22. But black community members provided the real report by stating there was a minimum of 40 people who had died and that it reached up to 200 victims. Now, they say, according to Anderson County Sheriff William H. Black, stated at the time that it was challenging to obtain the death toll because the black bodies were scattered all over the woods. It said many black residents fled the town during and after the massacre, leaving behind real estate property and assets to save their lives. It said white residents later seized their property. It said, for instance, Jack Holly, they say, a formerly enslaved man, lost his dairy, granary, general store, and 700 acres of land to white residents after he had to run for his life with his family. Think about that. This one black man that used to be a slave came from slavery. And out of slavery, this brother lost everything. He lost 700 acres of land that was his land. See, when you see these people with all this big wealth gap, they didn't work a day for it. They done things like this to get it. Terrorism. Most people today would view that as terrorism. Mobs of people with guns showing up, shooting people at will, stealing their things is terrorism. This is why I do not have a lick of respect for this Mzungu at all and what he has attained. And you silly black folks that have this attitude that you respect this Mzungu for the things that he do, he haven't earned anything. He haven't earned it. He stole the majority of everything he has from us. Stole our labor, our lives, our inventions, our land, our farms, stole it all. Now, continuing, it said almost all of Slocum's, they said, residents were subpoenaed to testify, and white men who refused were arrested, right? It said Spurgeon, at least 15 other white men were arrested for the attacks. It's in addition, Spurgeon and the 6 other men were indicted on 22 counts of murder. However, they were never tried. It's in indictments received little attention when Judge Benjamin Howard Gardner moved the trial to Harris County, which is here in the Houston area, where the charges were eventually dropped. It said none of the attackers were ever prosecuted. Just like today. They do things to black folks. Nothing happens to them. But we have an Asian hate crime bill. Now, say today, they say the city of Slocum reflects, it's on the relics of its history, while most, they say the nearby towns have black populations of more than 20%. Slocum is just below 7%. They say due to the efforts led by the Constance Holly Jawade, it say a descendant of the victims, a historical marker was dedicated to commemorate the event in Slocum back in 2016. So that's a little American history, because yes, it's black history, but it's a little American history that, Greg Abbott and the rest of the gang don't want taught in public schools. But if you learn anything from what happened to our brothers and sisters, understand they built their stuff from the ground up with their bare hands, with none of this welfare, food stamps, anything. Okay. They had the knowledge and skills to do so. Remember our brother that we talked about came out of slavery, ended up getting 700 acres of land. Now, if that brother could have kept that 700 acres of land, what happens? Land equals wealth. This is why they want black folks to own nothing. Nothing at all. Black folks don't own hardly anything in America. We're the biggest consumer of everything, but we don't own any land. Land, when you know what to do with it, turns into wealth. This is why, for me, it is better to go get land in the African continent, because it will be a lot easier and more feasible to do it there than here. Sure, you can do it here, but you're still dealing with the same white supremacist system that could take your land at any time. You know how they could take your land at any time? Eminent domain. Oh, we want to build a highway through here. We're going to take your land from you. Sure, they give you money for it now. Back then they wouldn't. But the fact is, no, you don't want to sell your land. Look at the people when they were building this border wall down there. They were taking their land for that. When you see, these Mzungus that own all this land, I mean, they got so much land, they don't know what to do with it. Where do you think that come from? Where do you seriously think that come from? We wasn't no bums after slavery. We was not no bums. We were a people of good stock. What you're looking at today, to me, if I study history, it's the worst that black folks have ever been today. Even if you go back to the 1960s and 50s, even though we deal with a little bit more, things at times, even though nothing has really changed if you study at the time period, 1910, 1960s, 2021, those people have not changed. They changed the way they do it. They may change certain tactics, but they have not changed. Anti-black racism is the foundation of America, and other groups have came in here and realized if you want to get something politically, well, just blame black people. Say black people did it. You know what I'm saying? So, I want you, to look more into the Slocum, Texas, massacre that happened to our brothers and sisters. Stole everything from them. Stole it all. And these people want to walk around and tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They want to tell you to, you just get a job and maybe if you just, work hard and not commit crimes, then maybe people won't be talking bad about you. Like, seriously? You listen, they are the last people to tell you how to raise your children, how to work hard, how to obtain something by following the law. They didn't follow no law. They didn't follow no law at all. What are you talking about? You talk about Pookie and Ray Ray. Yeah, I know he's an issue in the community, but these people got way more blood in their hands than Pookie and Ray Ray could ever have. Show me the times that black Americans in this country went stole people's land and stole people's houses and ran them off their land and shooting them in the back as they're trying to escape, men, women, and children. Show me when black Americans have done that. You can't show that because that's not our history. But that is American history for the Mzungu. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this particular, story in American history that they won't teach you in school. Like I said, when we have these stories, ladies and gentlemen, bring your children. Let your children listen in on these stories. When we talk about them, we're not saying curse words or nothing like that in the story where, little children can't listen because they're not going to teach true American history in schools. They're not. And surely they don't want no one to know the truth because when they know the truth, they're responsible for it, and it's a condemnation, and that's what the Republicans actually is trying to stop. The economy and job market are picking up quickly. If you're a job seeker looking to advance your career, or if you're an entrepreneur looking to start or expand your business, BrightPathSearch.com has the resources to assist you. For job seekers at any stage, BrightPathSearch.com can perfect your resume and cover letter, help you prepare for your interview, and offer leads for networking. For entrepreneurs, BrightPathSearch.com can help you get access to government contracts or even help you start your business. There's no need to go at it alone. For a free consultation for job seekers or small business services, email j@brightpathsearch.com or visit the website www.brightpathsearch.com. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store.